It's a WordPress homepage, so anything you need about themes, plugins, documents, any support, this is probably the best place that you'll actually find it. Click on the latest WordPress, so in this case it's 3.32. I've already downloaded a copy of it myself. As you can see, I just extract it. And then in the actual folder you'll see the contents of the WordPress. Next of all, we actually have to create a database, so it'll register a user, etc., and hold information. So go on to your MAMP, click it open, go to the my PHP admin. Now this is because I already was working beforehand, just testing this out. If you come across this error, you actually might want to go into clear browsing data. Going to clear it all. It's to do with cookies. Okay, so with that, like that, I'll go back and refresh. Fingers crossed. And yes, it works. Okay, so in here, this is where you'll actually want to create a database for your website for the WordPress itself. This is where, when it configures, it looks for this and it binds itself together. So I already have created the dev site. You'll want to go into this box and actually type in whatever name you want. Hello, or WordPress trial, whatever. Once you're happy, create a database and then you'll see it appeared here. Now, you might actually see here that there's numbers indicating on the side. This is actually the tables within the database. So there's, as you can see, there's 5 tables, and that's what that actually indicates. So don't be worrying if there's none beside yours. Now, what we want to do is actually copy our WordPress files into where the MAMP folder is structured, which is in your preferences, and mine is set to applications MAMP htdocs. I'll preferably actually want to create another folder called dev site, which I'll do now. Go applications, just looking for MAMP. And there you go, there's MAMP htdocs. I'm going to create a folder called new folder dev site. Okay, open up the WordPress contents folder. Command A, so that initially selects everything. Once it selects everything, go Command C. Command C, as you know, copies back into the applications MAMP htdocs and your site folder. Command V, or copy paste it all. So as you can see, it's now copying the WordPress contents over. And that should be me almost ready to go to install WordPress. Now, having created that folder, I'm going to tell it to go specifically to that site or to that folder. It's now thinking. It's asked me for a password to restart its server. Now you need the 2 lights to come back on for it to actually work. Okay. So now we have everything placed ready to install WordPress. I am now going to localhost. Now the localhost is directed straight to that dev site. If I go preferences, it goes applications MAMP htdocs development site. So this is actually going straight to this site, and what it's saying is the actual WordPress contents. Now it's already saying that there's not a WordPress config file and that I'll need to create one to get it going. So you can create a WordPress config through the web interface, but if it doesn't work, blah blah blah. So this is the easy way of creating it, and if you want the long way, you can actually go in and check out the WordPress config sample and change it, and you'll skip this process. But for ease of purpose, do this. Create a config file. It'll okay, and you'll be greeted. You'll need to put in your database name, your username and password, and the database host. With this in mind, it seems very simple and very straightforward, so click on the next one. Now below it's asking please put in the database name. And if you remember back earlier, to the MAMP. Our database name is dev site, so we again will put that in. Our username, your MySQL username. Now this is what MAMP sets up for you. Okay, I'll go back to the start page and you can see it says user is root and password is root. So I'm going to put my username in, password is root, and the database host is localhost. And table prefix, this is if you want to run multiple WordPress installs, but we don't, so we don't need to actually change anything here. Click on submit. We'll wait for the next screen. It says, alright Sparky, you've made it through this part of the installation. WordPress can now communicate with your database. So we've effectively got to a stage where it's going, right, hello database, I'm ready to give you details to start the install of a dynamic website. So correct, actually now start the install process. And we are minutes away from having a dynamic site. Now, one thing to bear in mind, if you are doing this on a server through the cPanel, you'll need to create the username and password. And just follow along like I have done. However, this information needed must be put up quite high in the priority list of thinking what could happen if I get hacked. Now, I'm not going to get hacked, or you're not going to get hacked if you're doing it on localhost. But if you're doing it on a server, this is really the admin panel. This is the back end, so people can actually access this on the World Wide Web if they know your site is being powered by WordPress. So for security measures, just make sure that you enter a correct site or site title. Mine is going to be dev site. Yours may be whatever the client's name might be. So my username, I am making simple admin, just for the purpose of this exercise, so I remember. You've got to be careful on the World Wide Web. You'll want to choose something that's careful, and it's going to be hard to crack, just in case anyone or anything malicious comes along and tries to actually destroy your site. You'll need to come up with quite a strong password, as the strength indicator will show. Mine is going to be relatively weak. Now try and make it as strong as possible. Now your email field will have to be the primary email that'll be used throughout the site. This will mean that people want to get in contact or send messages, etc., etc. This is the email that gets used. So for this case, I'm using my University of Ulster email. You'll probably use whatever you want to use. For privacy fact, it's best to actually click this off when doing any development, or even for a site for a client and you're running it off a server. You don't really want the client to see it before anything's passed off. And this is just asking us, do you want to index the site? I'm going to say no, I don't want to index. I just want to install WordPress. So it's installing WordPress. And it says success, WordPress has been installed. And this is great, this is what you want. So we can now actually effectively log into the back end. And this is what you always see when you're greeted with WordPress. Even on a direct URL link, you can actually edit this, but just for Pete's sake, we'll just put in our details, admin and admin. And now we're actually greeted to the WordPress backend. Here you'll be able to navigate on the left hand side. You'll be able to create posts, upload media, so that's images or videos, create pages within the site, and here it's like you're in control of what is being displayed on the page. Here you can actually review comments, what people are saying. Probably one of the most cool features is the appearance panel. We can actually upload and edit themes or our websites and change them accordingly. We have our plugins, so this is like your social media feeds, posts, anything that sliders, anything like that you might get through the WordPress plugin capability. Users, you can manage users, add users, delete users. Tools, I'm not 100% what the tools are for, but anyway, settings, this is where you can set your privacy, like I said before about sites being indexed, so you can set it if you want to see it or not. But anyway, let's just check out our site. And there we go. We have an actual live site, dynamic site, ready to go on WordPress. It's that simple and that straightforward. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thank you.